C stands for cross-chain message passing. It is a networking protocol provided by Polkadot to pass messages between parachains. So as you can see, if you want to have two different parachains talk to each other in Polkadot, they use XCMP. Note that when you're communicating between different parachains, there's actually two kinds of channels you open. One is like an outgoing channel and an ingoing channel. So for every single two parachains there'll be two channels open to facilitate communication between the two of them. Now, every parachain has access to open these channels, but they're not open by default. So if you want to talk to a different parachain, you basically have to set up a handshake and say, hey, I'd like to talk to you. And the other one says, yep, I'd like to talk to you as well. This is to ensure that we keep these parachains safe from malicious parachains that might actually want to send or spam them messages. Another kind of message passing, which is not often talked about, but is kind of wrapped up into the same kind of world, is VMP, or vertical message passing. Vertical message passing is basically the same thing, where parachains they can talk to the relay chain instead of each other. And of course, there's a lot of different communication that parachains do talking to things like Polkadot to coordinate upgrades, to coordinate all these other kinds of messages. So XCMP and VMP messages are opaque blobs. So at the protocol level, these message passing protocols don't assume anything about the message format. And this is really important. When you're creating a blockchain system, you want it to be relatively unopinionated. The more opinions you have, the more assumptions you're placing into the now, into what's good today. But really, with these kinds of generalized message passing protocols, you basically want to assume that all the messages are these opaque blobs, basically just bytes. And so we don't assume any specific message format. But of course, having a standard message format is useful, because if you don't have a standard, then you're basically leaving it to everyone to kind of figure out their own standard and make their own thing. So having standards is nice. And that is, of course, where XCM comes in. So what is XCM? XCM stands for cross-consensus messaging. And actually, if you note here, XCMP stands for cross-chain message passing. The C is chain in XCMP, but here it's consensus in XCM. And I'll talk a little bit why that is the case. The XCM format is a basic format for communication between consensus systems. And consensus systems is kind of, I think, maybe a unique word. Maybe some of you are just hearing for the first time. But what it really means is basically it's designed for any type of system which derives consensus. So that is parachains, but that is also bridge chains, smart contracts, and much more. I wanted to clarify that XCM is not a Polkadot or parachain-specific format. It works and is designed to work across any consensus system. So here's an example of what that might look like across many different consensus systems. So in this picture, you have basically an Ethereum smart contract initiating an XCM message, sending it over an Ethereum bridge to like a bridge parachain, then that passing from the bridge parachain over XCMP to another parachain, where on that parachain there is a contracts palette that uses ink, and actually that message is getting processed by an ink smart contract. So you can see in